Mhm. Call the meeting to order. 7:05. Approval of the agenda. Make a motion. So moved. Second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Uh. August minutes that were done. Lester did them and he had the help of AI. And it was amazing. What it did, like. Not sure,
Did he use the cloud recording?
I'm not sure if it was that or, maybe it was the recording after this, have to ask him. I'm not sure if he was gonna try to join us tonight or not, but he's. Probably not ready.
Yeah, what
Just
happened?
yet.
What happened?
Like accident,
I know, but I just don't know. There it is.
Beamer and humorous,
Yeah.
gonna be out for a while
Yeah.
with rehab. So his August minutes came out great. I was kidding with him, I said. AI's taking over. And, I think I just messaged him to just add the attendance that it didn't pick up, so.
I messaged him about, being sure to include Bill Kearns. Pledge to come up with basically a guide for emergency planner. For the emergency response, the team. Which he said he wanted to copyright, but would give to Grafton. Wanted that in there.
And it's in there, right?
It is
Yeah,
now, it
yeah,
wasn't before.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on the agenda? Your motion to approve the agenda for August, the minutes for August, excuse me.
Yeah.
Second, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, wastewater ordinance proposal, Wyndham Regional, did everyone see the email from Mike O'Connell? Well, I haven't looked through the contract, but that's not for us to look through anyway, right? At this point, select board takes that over now.
they should be, yeah. Yeah, they should be.
You know, he had a couple of questions to who the administrator of that was. And. I had messaged him privately that cause he mentioned Bill Kearns, I said, well, Bill used to be our administrator at one time, that's where he may have picked that up from.
Yeah, he is presently the administrative officer, but that is not the appropriate role for this, ordinance work.
Yeah.
Which should be select board, town administrator.
So it's more and Morgan pretty much will,
Yeah,
yeah, and she's been following up on,
Why is that here?
the town administrative officer does things like, the, minor, changes under, the development review board. Does other statutory things that are required. And he is the floodplain administrator. Which is a role that is normally covered by the town administrator officer. But it's a separately called out position in state statute. You don't have to have a town administrator. Many towns do, and we do. But the town has to have a town administrative officer for certain specific things.
So how does that distinguish between that and Morgan's role? Just Want to be clear and.
Well, she doesn't have anything to do with the zoning board of adjustment.
Yeah.
She doesn't have anything to do with administering the floodplain.
But she can track, she has an Excel file of the tracking of the septic pumping.
Yeah,
And as they come in, and then she can send out reminders, I think between her and Kim, they could send out reminders and if they haven't submitted their pumping slips. So that, Mike, I think Mike may be working on something that's gonna make sure it's more concrete, there's
yeah,
how the procedures are, and make it more fluid. I would hope. So, they're in the works with that end of things. And then on the water end, she's received, I think she says we'll have no problem receiving 3 proposals, RFPs. For the water testing. And I've spoken with, uh, Wesson and. Yeah. It's the group. Hold on one second. David Shaw from Weston and Sampson. And I spoke with him 2 weeks ago with several questions that he had initially when they first received it, and they've since had a couple more. I answered his questions. And they were a little easier to answer, but the last set he just sent yesterday were quite a bit more complicated that I don't understand. So I'm gonna have a phone call with him tomorrow and just ask him, okay, explain your questions here a little more in detail.
what's bugging you about it?
I have no clue what he's talking about.
Okay, it sounds like something that happens to me often, so it's a good reason.
I mean, just the terminology and some other things that. Obviously, they're proving that they're pretty intelligent in this field, but. I sent back a note,
Unless he can explain the complicated things to you in a way that you can understand. Then
Yeah.
he's proving that he's smart and intelligent.
yeah, he's also a hydrologist.
Okay, is he the one that raised the issue of whether or not we needed that hydrologist?
Yes,
And
He
did he
thinks- he
give any
thinks it's-
reasons for that?
and so we're gonna, based on. He took a general look, he's also, Morgan's gonna send him the, Iron Bond study, so we'll see a little bit
Oh, good.
closer.
Yeah.
But he said because of the proximity and how the aquifer probably sits here, it's probably irrelevant, just. That's what we would do first and. Maybe not the word irrelevant, but. He didn't think it was.
So
necessary.
there's a discussion to be had. Over basically what our objectives are because of. How you do the sampling, because. Existing water wells are supposed to go down and seal against bedrock. And when the water that moves into the bedrock aquifer. Moves very slowly. And once you've got contamination there, you're screwed basically. Because it just doesn't move out very much. And on the other hand, the underlying area around the village here has got a very heavy layer of basically alluvial floodwater gravel. Which a well driller normally doesn't tap into for your well unless you've got a shallow well, dug well. And the groundwater moves through that layer very rapidly. And if you were trying to find out if there were contamination in that area, and you were only sampling from regular wells that were sealed into bedrock, you wouldn't be doing what you wanted. So there's gotta be a discussion with someone who's smart hydrologically. And we've got to quantify or qualify, I should say, what we are attempting to do with the water testing. And what I'm saying is it should be an early warning system.
Mhm.
Should give us a heads up that there's something going on before everybody is totally contaminated. So we might actually do something about it.
Yeah, so he and I talked to that, and the basis of the testing was to see, you know, if you test one well and all of a sudden, okay, it comes back clean, go to the next one. If one comes back, you know, with some contamination that reaches the level that's, you know, notable, then there's a whole process. You know, they actually have to put in a filtration system.
Yeah, that's not what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, if something tests positive,
Yeah,
they have to go to the next step. Plain and
Yeah.
simple.
yeah, but what we wanna do is detect differences over time.
Yeah. Well, you're missing the point. If we do have a problem, we gotta go to the next level, which is gonna cost to put in filtration system.
We as a municipality or the state or
Good question,
individuals.
good question. So the grant money, we're thinking is just gonna be for the testing itself.
Yeah,
But the way he words this, I'll get into it here in a second, He's answered a few things here, I hate Gmail email. Try to look for something. It's pretty simple, it was yesterday. Mm, So the first, again, the first questions I answered were fairly easy. And the second one dated August 27th. So the question they have, the RFP states that up to 10 wells are to be sampled. Because we gave them a number,
yeah, arbitrary.
yeah, are these the same wells, near the Grafton Elementary School? Goes on, if not, are you able to provide the locations of the wells? Locations are to be determined preferably with guidance of a hydrologist to determine potential runoff to aquifers, is my answer. Samples would be taken from additional wells and subsequent testing, and any wells with positive test results will be monitored further per protocol. All right, that was my answer back then.
All the wells should be monitored.
Okay. Next question was, purpose of scoping out. Three, a schedule and approach for year one. No, we figured it would begin at the beginning of the contract, we'll start this year and go into next year. Not a fiscal year. Will any of the sampling include the Grafton Elementary School? We said no. Lab analysis here indicates that we may subcontract the lab. They don't do lab work, they do the testing, and they send the lab work out, and they send it to Pace, who I've already contacted, and that's one of their leaders in water testing, so
Yeah, good.
it gets not chain of command, yeah, chain of command, chain of custody. They'll handle that. They're gonna do total coliform. And I said, so the lab analysis would preferably be included with the testing, so the price. The lab
Yeah.
work. And I'd like to get to where it gets into this. Specifics here. Morgan says she's had a lot of interest in the RFQs. At this point, she's not worried about getting 3 proposals. If we only get 2, all we need is 1 denial that states they're not submitting a proposal, and that counts, that we've done our job, we're gonna find at least 3. And then once we get them, they're coming in, we're doing the 12th. So do we look them over? Do we just hand them over to the select board
I think we should look at
as a
that,
committee?
Yeah.
As kind of the,
and we should convene for it.
Yeah,
okay,
I
so,
mean, more likely to identify. What's important, what kind of issues,
we
so.
have Kathy, Suzanne and Eric and I are water committee, and you, and both of you and Lester.
Are they gonna be received as sealed bids?
I don't know how, I know when we did,
Normally those are open at a select board meeting, but then they can be routed, I think. for review.
right. I think we're looking at qualifications.
Yeah.
More than price.
Mhm.
So we could say, hey, our best qualified company that we see, because you do it by a point system. As well. No, when we did, and then the engineering study, we did a point system saying, okay, you get. So many points for this company, so many points for that company, and then you total up from 3 members.
Yeah,
The points, and you come up with the most points, oh, that one seems to be the best, because we've given it more points. You ever seen that?
yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into trying to make up some sort of a judging system or ranking system. So, yeah,
Well, they have one, 'cause I remember we used it, we used the template for the scoring. When you're choosing a company. Does it provide what you're looking for? It doesn't talk about price at all,
okay, but still, you're,
but again, that's for qualification, this is actually for a proposal, so it is a price. So Buzz is probably right, if they send, we have 3 prices. We can look them over and say, okay, this might be our best company, but it's the highest company, let's bring it to the select board and then let them decide, right, that's the money. For
Yeah.
a portion of it.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the budget, sync up. You know, we'll have to happen.
it's our subjective qualifications, our evaluations of the people that are trying to do this. Because we've been talking about the issue for a long time. I think we're in a better position to evaluate than the select board is. However, the select board is the ultimate arbiter, but judge of this contract. And all we can do is provide them with our best efforts. I'm a little bit leery of the idea of trying to rank them with some kind of point system. It's difficult. But going back to some of your previous comments on what he was asking about. This grant is not for remediation. We want to do it for surveillance testing.
Hmm,
And we're in the surveillance testing, we are looking for changes. We know that Charles Bonin has got some degree of PFAS in there, and that's not something we're concerned about making better or worse. We want to know, does it change? And we've got a well somewhere that tests with nothing in it, that's great. The next test period, 6 months or a year. That's great, that's fine, but then on maybe the 3rd test period. All of a sudden there's a change,
hmm.
was there a change in adjacent
Yeah.
test locations? We're
Well-
trying to figure out what's going on underground.
So these folks do it all the time. They know the protocol, they know the procedure, so if they
Mhm.
find it. They go back however many days or weeks or months. Based on their, what they've done in the past. So with that said, if he said, if you find it, it's called point of. Contact. You have it. In a well. Then the remediation needs to be performed.
Yeah, but not with the $200,000, we're,
Right, so
We-
that's gonna, okay, so now what happens? You found it in somebody's well on our grant, and they're gonna go, oh, now what do I do? Just like Charlie Bonham went, what do I do? Does the state step in and
I don't know.
Charlie waits 2 years to get a filter system?
I don't know, but we shouldn't be. Offering to sabotage our testing program because we've found contamination and are now trying to spend money to mitigate. That's not our role. We're trying to find out whether the village is heading into dangerous territory,
And I
the whole
think,
thing.
I think the next steps would have to be determined on those results and what is found, and then you'd have to figure out your funding for.
Yeah, I think it's a separate issue.
Yeah, I agree with you, it's separate.
It's, you go ahead with your testing program.
I agree it's gonna have to happen, it's just not under this grant or.
Well, the way he explained it to me was, if you find it, it's called, I think it's called point of contact. And the state has to be notified.
Oh, yeah, I agree with
And,
that,
and everything the whole thing starts.
yeah.
For that,
I think
So with that said,
you go on and.
our
test the next
homeowner's
one.
gonna go, no, I don't want my water tested. Because of that potential. Cause we have to get permission. to Test the water.
Right.
So there's so many things starting to play out here. We shouldn't make it that complicated, but
You wanna be screened for cancer?
you're the one that makes things complicated. Come
No,
on.
no.
So. Here's one of the,
It's preventative, I would think that'd be unusual if they don't wanna be part of it.
Right, and they're getting all the other standard things tested. Like Paul and the E. coli and other sorts of things that we might throw into the mix.
so here's one of the questions. They're diving into this proposal and they need some answers by the 12th. Over a few questions, they're gonna provide it bid by the 12th. Here are the questions. When there is PFAS sedents in drinking water. Are we providing drinking water and installing POET, the
Filtration.
filtration systems? Or simply recommending that drinking water should be provided to impacted users until a POET system can be installed, question mark.
I think option B.
Yeah, we can recommend that something be done. But we're not trying to do it ourselves.
Not through that, not through that.
Yeah, and then I think it would go through state of Vermont, most likely.
So recommend,
Mhm.
Yeah, their job is to identify. What's happening, if anything.
so
Each
identify,
test site.
Right, cause this wouldn't include the budget to cover. The first option where you're starting to try a solution.
Right,
so then he goes, would it be helpful to include typical water delivery, POET installation, maintenance and monitoring costs?
no.
Well, they're gonna provide the costs, so we'll know what it costs.
Oh, they can do that, but not under.
So provide costs,
To notify the homeowner what it would cost.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
You wanna keep separate, identifying problems. And paying for that. From paying for, resolving those problems, you want separate companies, you know? You don't wanna encourage first to find things that may not be there, you know?
okay, next question. Under the ARPA support, you request preliminary engineering report. Materials on request, what are you envisioning with this, since the PER is not part of the scope? And I think that's what Morgan might have answered, that we'll provide you with the report.
Provide who with a report?
Wesson and
Try that again, please, and
Yeah,
under the ARPA support. You request preliminary engineering report. PER materials on request. What are you envisioning with this, since a PER is not part of the scope? So we're not asking them to do a PER, we're asking them. You know, so.
what we'd want is the periodic testing. And a summary of the results and change over time.
I think he's telling us that under the ARPA support. You request preliminary engineering report, materials on request. Meaning they
Meaning
request,
that if you find the test result, you're required to submit to ARPA? I'm not clear.
yeah, I'm not clear. what
It's
it-
like a double sentence.
Yeah,
Almost.
I'll put
It
it-
says the same thing at the end.
I'll just put explaining.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But again, I would think we would take the results and then whatever reporting or next steps would have to would happen would be certain.
yeah,
So he says, what are you envisioning? Again, we're envisioning best results.
Establishing a baseline over time,
Establishing baseline.
that if you then, if there's then a variation or a high result, then the action will need to be determined.
I think we want them to keep it simple. You know, I'm a little worried about mission creep here, so.
Well, there are not RFPs, they're requests for information, RFIs are not easy.
Yeah.
Here's the next one. Are these studies available for the centralized water system or referenced in the standard grant agreement? This will be helpful for understanding the hydrology of the area.
We'll run that by.
Are these studies?
What's-
Are there studies available? Are there, okay, are there studies available for the decentralized water system, wastewater system work referenced in the standard grant agreement? Question mark. This will be helpful to understand the hydrology of the area.
I think that's asking what's been done before, like the time bond, so.
Yeah, and that's, okay, some people board is telling about it. And I think that's where Morgan referenced that she's gonna send him the study. Is cold form data available for the plus or minus 50 wells sampled roughly from 5 years ago? Yes. Without that, somewhere. I remember everything was good except for one tested with some coliform because it might have been a rodent in the well. That's all we found out.
Smell well, and
Yeah, I think. I don't think so. I don't think we did any shallow wells. We were all
build them,
real wells.
I had a rodent then.
They figured it was a rodent somewhere in the system that may cause it.
Happens.
Yeah,
So those should be downstairs.
should be, I don't know, I haven't.
I've got them back in some old emails, but hopefully they're downstairs. They should be on record. Next question, the request for qualifications indicates that water supply samples be analyzed for PFAS by methods 533-537.1. These are two separate methods with slightly different analytic lists. Do you require reporting of all analytes for both methods? And that we picked up from, again, AI helped us figure this out, so I'll put, please explain and offer what you feel is best for us, maybe. You
I
know,
think, well, it's the. That's what you're looking for
Hmm.
chemical. Most likely, there are a few of the whole class of PFAS chemicals, which state of Vermont looks at, whereas there is just a plethora, like probably hundreds of PFAS-like compounds that one could potentially look for. That we need some interactive guidance with somebody that knows what the hazards are, what's out there, and why state of Vermont might not be looking at some, and on the other hand is looking at others. For instance, the PFAS that were showing up down in North Bennington because of the fabric coating plant down there
Mhm.
may not be the same PFAS that are showing up over here that were
Yep.
ascribed to,
And
or,
he told me about that, because they're the ones who did the study, they did that
okay.
down there. And they're the ones who put in the systems
Mhm.
for all the. Homes there, all the wells.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna put, so do you require reporting of all analytes for both methods? I'm gonna,
let's have a discussion about
yeah,
that.
I'm gonna go, yeah, not sure, let's discuss. Cause it comes down to cost.
It could balloon very
Yeah.
rapid.
Yeah. The last question, drum roll, please. Or Johnny Carson, we used to pull the last one out. Carmack, this is our last.
Yeah,
Does the town require one sampling summary memo for each homeowner or one for each sampling event?
Sampling event, I would think, and then
Yeah,
can be provided to the homeowner. There are some,
I think
there
we
are some walls with multiple homeowners, right? Couple.
probably so. We need the granular data, but we also need an overall report from the event. Basically to say, uh, everything is the same as it was before, or no, we've got changes now. Because it's a surveillance program.
Yeah, that's how Charlie gets his. He gets a report of each sample.
Yeah, as I was saying, we should have the granular data of everything. Well, we don't wanna go through it, try to track the changes, that's the reason we hire these people to look at it.
Okay, that'll help me, talk with him tomorrow. It's 7:09. So they get more complicated fairly quickly compared to the first few that they submitted, but this is the company that's interested in doing it for us, because they're coming up with questions.
Yeah,
Even though she says she has, this is a couple of other. RFPs.
Yeah.
And I did talk to him about, the bill, the invoicing, and how it's gonna go over a period of time, the money needs to be spent by 10/31, 8/31/26.
mhm.
Um,
and what's the start date then?
it's signing the contract. So we have to start something by the end of September.
Okay,
We're gonna show them the contractor proposal from Wyndham Regional for the wastewater, so that's,
yeah,
we're doing something and we're doing this. We should meet the deadline. But tentatively, we sign a contract sometime in October with them. And then it starts there and goes through, so we're gonna be less than 12 months, but. clock starts ticking.
Yeah, and things drag out.
Um. So that's where I'm at with that. Um. So once we get, so after the 12th, which is this week. Yeah, Friday,
Yeah,
so we need
sounds
to,
good.
we need to meet next week. We do next Tuesday,
not Tuesday,
Hmm?
not Tuesday. Got both the Republican and Democrat.
All right,
This is on Tuesday.
so move it to Wednesday. There's the Improvement Association meeting Wednesday.
Is the select board
Monday.
meeting on Monday?
Would be,
I can't do it on Wednesday.
would be too quick to do something before the meeting on Monday. Won't give us enough time,
It's at 6,
you know,
so you'd have to do it by about 5.
and you have to put it right on the, otherwise we're waiting 2 more weeks, but it's still September. Right,
It would be nice
the
if you had,
29th, it's getting close.
if you had
Thursday, next
any kind
Thursday.
of result of our meeting prior to the select board meeting.
So what about?
You meet early on Monday.
What about the Thursday since Wednesday doesn't work?
That's okay with me.
So that's the 18th, am I right?
Yes. Want to plan that?
You won't have another select board meeting until next month at that point, just FYI. Right, yeah. The next select board meeting after that will be in October.
It won't be the 29th.
There's 2 a month and this will be the second one.
Oh, so you folks will have to,
We had an emergency one yesterday, so yeah, it could always be one of those.
Oh. And maybe earlier than 5 o'clock on Monday then. If you guys are gonna have to make a decision that impacts what goes on to the state.
if we get them all on Friday, Morgan distributes them to all of us. We can look them over independently. And then all we need to do is convene somewhere quickly for the select board meeting. On Monday,
Yeah.
that was what we recommend.
And we need to warn that meeting.
Yeah, you have to get in there at the agenda.
We can go under the same kind
Emergency,
of, yeah, there are several. Stages of, being able to shortcut the normal. Warning period. There's an emergency. It's like, well,
If you want it tomorrow, would that give 5 days or would it be considered 5 days? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
we could meet on a weekend if you wanted, I don't know. But these folks aren't gonna be responding until Friday, right? Yeah.
yeah, Friday's the deadline, so, you know, we put 2 o'clock on Friday, actually, so they have to be in by
Yeah,
2 o'clock
2
on
o'clock.
Friday, so we could meet. Friday afternoon, stop down at the store for coffee and,
Well, we'll need to look over the stuff though,
you know,
yeah. But you know, what's wrong with meeting Monday? You know, an hour or so before.
and we warn it.
In morning
Tomorrow,
Yeah, I get, so. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's enough warning. To make it a standard meeting. But it would at least be close.
or a committee, it's a committee meeting, it's not a planning commission meeting.
Well, there should be a planning commission meeting. You're gonna have. All of the people on the planning commission. Or. A quorum of them. Meeting, working
Oh, yeah,
on town business.
right, there's a lot of form.
I hate cutting into sort of daylight hours, but we might wanna be coming in at 4 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock,
Yeah,
or 6 o'clock. Select board meeting,
yeah,
You okay with that? Long day for you?
Maybe, oh, it's not the, I don't mind that, it's the, sometimes I have calls that go right up till 5:30. It'll probably be okay then. As long as last morning
And
block it
hopefully,
in.
hopefully it's
What's that?
pretty,
you can bring your work here.
and maybe it's pretty
I do that
straightforward.
too,
Maybe it's pretty straightforward. We got 3 respondents and. You know, these guys shine and the other 2 are.
one of my directs broke her leg and just had surgery today, so we'll. Kind of carrying some of her stuff right now.
So do I tell Kathy, who do I tell Morgan that we need to warn a meeting and have Kathy put it on the agenda? For next week.
sounds right.
So we're talking Monday at 4?
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I've got a major doctor's appointment on Monday at 1. I can't do it. Oh, geez. Monday's the 15th, right?
Working. No, 15th, you're right, Susan.
Let's do it. I may be a little woozy when I get here. But,
You're telling us she'll sign anything you put in front of
yeah,
I wonder if we can get Lester remote.
well, you 3 could be, and plus you've got Suzanne and Kathy. Suzanne makes it.
I'm sorry, try that again?
They're on the water committee.
Yeah.
So at least invite them. Kathy will make it, but. Probably Suzanne's been kind of out of radar here, radio silence. On all this. She's been emailed. To warn meeting Monday, 4 P.M.
We'll meet up here, so.
We're gonna call it, water testing. RFP.
Grant application review meeting,
Review, RFP review.
yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
If I can't be here, can one of you? Jared speak for us? Eric?
Draw straws.
So that's the gist of that, and we still haven't talked about. The invoicing of this whole thing, how it works. I mean, worst case. We do what we can in the air. Right? His state says, I can't do that, sorry.
Invoices. Well, the contract should be for the whole period, 10 years or whatever.
Hmm.
The money. Perhaps it could be put into an escrow account, something like that. Be drawn upon for,
That'd be nice, but I think they wanna see an invoice and they pay it.
which is okay. And
So they pay it
They do
to the
the same
company,
thing, right.
company receives the money and they just show that it's in an escrow. And trust them with it, I guess.
I'm not a money person, so.
But I do contracts like that, it's rare, but some companies like to pay up front and then. You kind of have a bucket of hours that you, use over time and invoice them. Well, you invoice it all up front. You just draw it down against your total.
Yep. And do we,
You just want to be working with a company that's pretty stable, and it's gonna be right.
I think this company is. Based on what they've provided us so far. Municipal planning grant, anything else on that? We're good? Municipal planning grant, it's pretty complicated.
The other thing is to ask the company if they're okay with that. Because you have to accrue your money differently. You know, their financial team. You know, you generally have to, even if you get paid, if you're doing the work later, you need to accrue it over time, so it gives them a little financial thing they have to take care of. Some companies don't like that.
And it says here, grant, the application deadline, 6 p.m. November 3rd.
Mhm. Did anyone have a chance to look at the grant application that Morgan sent?
I didn't know.
I printed it, so we have it, but there is a lot to it.
Did you send it to us or can you send it to us? Be nice to look at that before reviewing.
Yeah, I was looking at my mail, I didn't see it, I heard.
I
you
was hoping
mention-
tonight that we could actually physically fill it out, but, it's not that simple, to just fill out an application, it's. Morgan sent it to all of us, it came with the,
Really?
invite.
I looked at the invite and I saw the agenda attached to it. Well, look at him. Did she send a separate email? Cause I have one that has the September PC agenda built, that's the only attachment.
What's the town has come up with a 10% match.
On the grant.
Yeah,
Did we know that before? I don't know. Oh, RFQs for wall testing. Okay, all right, it is a separate email. Okay.
You do work for them.
Mine came in the same,
Really?
email.
And we're all on it? That's good.
Could you forward that to me again?
Oh,
I
the,
don't know, I missed it all.
the wall monitoring,
It's underneath the minutes. She sent the agenda. With the invite and these minutes, and then, there's some fire grants, let me see, and that. Share it. You've got it, Buzz?
I had a separate email with, with it, yeah, and I sent that to him.
Yeah, thanks.
What, do you have it in your email?
I don't know.
And again?
But that is, yeah. I mean, this is my email and it's got the agenda and that's all I see for attachments. But I did have a separate email. Actually, this one's from you asking Morgan to add the link and forward. Okay, maybe that was it. Maybe that's why I'm seeing that separately. Okay, she did. She forwarded it and she put the agenda and the two things in there. Yes. So that's what I sent you.
One thing we need to include in the application is our desire to bring the town plan into compliance with recent legislation. You know, the 171, the 181s and so on. Um, that gets you more points in here, but, you know,
Is that gonna be too much for Morgan to help us with, probably?
sure she can help us. with that.
Be good for her to do one.
Yeah, it's typically a job that is done by the. More than the actual application is done by the town administrator. But. Dude, whomever that is, that has to have input from planning commission.
Okay, that's what you. You.
Oh, funds may not be used for. And then it has. Capitalize a reserve fund for use beyond the grant period. It's kind of what. How we were talking about using it in the future, what's the grant period? 2026 program.
This grant is just for the upgrade of the town plan.
Yeah, well,
No, he's,
I'm looking at the municipal planning grant. Right?
Yeah, that's,
yeah,
That's for the
but I think
top
the grant that we got for the water system.
So
That you're getting at.
yeah, well, maybe it's, I don't know if it's that different. We might wanna check.
Has to be carefully worded. I did ask Morgan to ask, is it Lynette? Whoever is behind the grant. I said, pose the question. How we can spend it. I don't know if she did or not. I sent it last week, but she's on Fridays. And she hasn't been back to me on that.
Oh, yeah, this is the. Payments are also tied to reports in this one. For the second payment.
I do vaguely remember one of the pains of this process. Are the reports that are required periodically.
Yeah, there's one in December 2026, and then one at closeout. It's when it's signed, then there's a bid, and there's an end on this one. First payment, second payment, final closeout. Um,
There's also a requirement in here that the town's planning process be, endorsed by or confirmed by the regional planning commission. And the last iteration, we went through with, the town plan. We got that designation from them. I think we're gonna be okay there without yeah, separate issue.
Well, we reach out to Matthew Batchelder. See how far they'll go with this for us. Cause he did say he'd help us come plan in time. We still
The
have
preparation.
need to have him meet with us.
The preparation for
Hmm.
the MPG. They're not likely to give us a lot of work in that direction, but, could be adding salt to the stew, so to speak. They could give us some guidance about actually getting in there and doing the wording for us.
And what do we wanna ask for? For amount?
Well. Did we ever get a value from Matthew about actually, being our assistant, so to speak, in preparation of the new town plan?
We said he would, but he never gave us,
Alright. Toggle him on it, cause I think that it's gonna be thousands of dollars.
why does this seem like it's a catch 22? Because it is, isn't it?
My feeling is that if we do our work correctly, his work becomes much easier. And you know, the $6,000 to $8,000 is way more than what his contribution would be. Back in the old days, we had to budget for things like printing and
The maps.
distribution, maps and all that sort of thing.
So we have November 3rd, 6 p.m. Is the sooner we get it in, the better, or does it matter?
Well, actually, don't think it matters, but we're certainly gonna need to work on it over this next month. And it's probably gonna be more than just a meeting's worth of work. There's probably gonna need to special meetings to thrash some of this out. You could parse it out 2 members at a time to certain areas.
You want to answer this?
Yes. That's what gets around the open meeting law. I think we'll have to, if we do everything right, we're gonna have to have at least 2 meetings prior to submission of grant
application,
application. Yes.
so we got. We only got October.
Right.
And we lost our windman. Lester.
Well. He's gonna be immobile for a while.
That's all. He's got to go
Lots
through
turned to right, is that what you're?
he's gonna go through some rigorous therapy. He's gonna be busy. Actually,
Well, it's not like,
busy and probably exhausted at the end of each day or.
yeah,
session.
but his were bone breaks, not joint issues.
I asked him, I said, was the break behind your femur? He says, yeah, it was, I believe. And I said, maybe it was so high that they couldn't do the hip replacement while they were there because the bone was so damaged. Gotta put a pin in the
Yeah,
femur to do the hip replacement, so. That's gotta get healed before they can do a joint replacement.
oh, well, and there's a lot of stress put on the femur when
Is
that's.
he already looking at a hip replacement?
No, he wasn't,
Because of this,
yeah. But my initial thought was that, well, if you get the opportunity, just do it while we're there, right? That'll be next thing to go. But my guess is it was high enough that they couldn't. No, with a break on a femur, that would be impossible to try to do a hip replacement, actually.
Yeah, at
There's
least,
so much going on for the femur, just getting the
yeah,
pin in.
you know the process now, they
Mhm.
put you through the. So the leg gets. Yeah,
yeah.
go in there
Yeah.
and saw off the top of your femur. They pound
He's
that
gonna go
spike
through the
down.
recording and go, you guys talking about my femur. Uh, Well. Where do we go? Who do we, other than Matthew,
Get ready for Monday.
WRC, maybe he'll know someone who can help us put this together. I don't have time to do that, and I've done enough stuff with, between DOT and with, SAM registration.
Sand,
Yeah, for getting funds, if you do any federal work, even if you're a sub on a federal job. You have to have a SAM registration, cage number, all that. It's,
oh, I've heard occasionally.
it's your filing with the feds, it's the proof who people are. An umpteenth time. In order to get your funds. So between that application, that. Re-registration that was due. My DOT, my annual report. Because they go interstate with just a few pickups, so a couple small dumps. Guess what? We're obligated to DOT. UCR, that's a carrier registration.
oh,
And
I have
my
one
annual
on,
report.
I was reading, thank you.
They changed the parameters on how you get entered into your portal.
Hmm.
So I've been spending since May trying to get into my portal, and even after talking to a couple of people from Washington, trying to figure out how do I get into my portal. Oh, you're not the only one having trouble.
Probably the person that you wanted to speak with has taken early return.
Yeah, so,
They fired,
yeah,
close to the federal road.
so I've had enough of anything government right now. So I look at that application, what do you think? It's pretty straightforward, yeah.
I was, nice. don't know if you walked in the room, but when I made the comment, I was disappointed that Morgan didn't find the prior municipal planning grant that, was done.
Or what?
Well, she didn't know of any, but she was gonna check with Kim, but never got back to us, after she. Mayor, checked with Kim.
Um. The most recent iteration of the town plan was done in a kind of a accelerated, we need to get something on the books because it's expiring, so we basically used the existing town plan with minor modifications. The town plan workup prior to that, over a period of years, had a municipal planning grant associated. And if I'm not mistaken, you go back one iteration earlier than that, and we also had a municipal planning grant for the film.
Here's a little side box here that says, for rural towns with a population of less than 2,500, did you read this?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
The regional planning commission may serve as an agent of the town for the municipal planning grant. The agent is expected to prepare the application, support grant administration, and will be exempt from competitive selection if serving as a project consultant. But the municipality must remain the financial administrator. Yeah, RPCs may also serve as the agent for any consortium project.
No, that seemed like the crucial point for us going forward, is to take advantage of that.
Yeah, so I'll call Matt and just say,
We done the riot act in there, you know, it's okay.
so what do we wanna do a $7,000 grant? And what are we calling it? Town plan,
Update, revision, I don't know what. The language that makes it sound like it's, both. An urgent affair and new and exciting is probably gonna be useful to. Get part of the evaluation.
so it's a municipal town plan. Revision,
And update.
Yeah, we'll have, you know, at some point, think through the wording carefully, if I remember right in there, they were making a point, I think more than once. Of making sure you weren't piggybacking it, you know, two different activities into one grant. They were quite specific about that, so.
so we couldn't add in the welcome to Grafton Village signs?
No. So, no, it's just, we get some finer wording on this, we make sure. It seems like it's gotta be specific, concrete, and worth the money we're asking for.
So, update data,
It's more than that, we need to update to meet new statutory requirements.
yeah, there we go.
And incorporate updated regional data.
Yeah. It's real important that it comply with the law. Which has changed.
In conformity with law.
Oh, current.
Current, future. Yeah, we're gonna go through two legislatures before we get to 2028.
Current and evolving.
Yes, involved.
Laws and statutes.
And who knows, I mean, it could bounce back and forth. With what the standards are gonna be. But we're fixed on what,
We're fixed on what exists only in.
yeah,
Institute.
going through 26. And then we still have 27. That we'll probably need to do another grant in 27. Or you,
No.
or you, because this money is only good for 26. 2026.
Yeah, well, we don't have to predict what the future legislation is gonna be. All we have to do is make sure what we're doing complies with what exists now. And what exists right now has changed since the last town plan.
In the last town plan, we had all the different acts that were changing, we had Act 171 and. What was the other one?
Or
There were two different acts that just fell at us as we were putting it all together and.
the flood resilience, the contiguous forest blocks, the
Corridors.
animal corridors. And we have to do a dance somehow with the river corridors.
All right, so I've got two calls I'll make, up this evening first from, the water testing facility and Matthew from WRC, I'll report on those. I'll call and make sure, more of the meeting with the planning commission / water committee, or just call it planning commission.
Planning committee, well, you could say it's a joint meeting.
Yeah, joint meeting, planning water commission. And 4 PM Monday. I should be back from Dartmouth by 4 o'clock, but. Oh, I'm gonna be, I don't know. I may wanna go home and just go to bed. I may wanna go home and go to bed, so you guys, I'll just give you what I can once I see the RFPs on Friday.
Yeah,
Any old business to discuss? New business? No comment. Oh, we can get out of here early. Next meeting is October 14th. So September 18th does not have to come into play, right? And we're gonna do it Monday. It's a special meeting.
Yeah, I think this so-called special meeting. Probably the right designation for it.
We don't need an agenda for that, do we?
Hmm,
It's just
Yeah.
reviewing RFPs.
There's your agenda.
Hmm?
There's your agenda. I think you're supposed to if you meet, so
Yeah.
your agenda, you just said what it is.
Review our
Well, no,
RFPs.
yeah,
or water tasting.
yeah, might as well identify it, so. Anyone takes an interest, they can. No worries.
We don't need to. Do we have to go through the approval of the agenda minutes and all that? No. What's the formality, Robert's rules for that?
No,
Well, we can, first,
there's no reason we can't.
just take a
Or
minute
Bob.
if we wish.
Yeah.
We know what our job is, but.
Yeah, if I'm not here, one of you choose. Chair, I nominate Eric, just keep it simple. Don't complicate it, Eric,
Second,
what you love to do. But for good reason,
Oh, nice complicated that.
it is, we're on it. Okay, Lester, have a good night.
we should,
Is that on it?
you should send them a box of chocolates or something.
Well, I'll end the recording, I wanna say something, during the meeting, motion,
I'm motion very negative.
Second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay,
8:20. And no more.